Hello, friends, and welcome. Today's episode is part 2 of Haunted Dolls. If you haven't heard part 1, that episode is linked in the description below. This topic is a viewer suggestion from my friend Emily, and thank you again, Emily, for this suggestion. This episode is not suitable for all viewers due to frightening and disturbing situations. Viewer discretion is advised. Now let's get into the stories. Lily is a vintage porcelain doll that was made in the 1800s in Germany with real human hair. She was owned by a wealthy family who suffered a series of tragedies, including deaths of several family members after Lily came into their lives. Some people believe Lily was behind these tragedies. Years later, an antiques dealer in Salem, Oregon, found her hidden in an antique chest and took her into his house. He started having reoccurring nightmares about a little girl who had a horrific accident. The details of his nightmares were too disturbing for him to tell anyone. They felt so real that it almost drove him mad. He took Lily to his antique shop when he felt he could no longer keep Lily in his home. One day, a little girl and her parents came into the shop. The little girl was drawn to Lily when she saw her. She talked with Lily for 3 hours as if Lily was a little girl like her. This caught the attention of everyone in the store. The little girl told the staff working at the antique shop that Lily is a little girl that was subjected to extreme violence. Sometime after that encounter, Zach Bagans of Ghost Hunters Haunted Museum came to see the antique store and, like the little girl, was drawn to Lily. He felt an immense energy radiating from Lily and decided to buy her. An older woman had to touch Lily to get her down from where she was, perched high inside the case. The woman looked flushed and began to panic while she had to package the doll and kept repeating, "I must wash my hands. I must wash my hands." She was then immobilized as she began to have sharp pains in her stomach. After Zach bought her, the woman admitted to another customer that she has been having nightmares after having to touch the doll when the customer asked how she was doing. The antique shop was happy that Lily was gone. You can visit Lily at Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, Nevada. Letta is a 200-year-old wooden marionette doll with human hair. In 1972, Kerry Walton came back to his Australian hometown for his grandmother's funeral and decided to face his childhood fear of abandoned houses while he was there. He discovered a marionette underneath an abandoned house in Wagga Wagga. He took the doll back with him to Brisbane, Queensland, and named the doll Letta Me Out because of his supernatural characteristics. Kerry said, "I reckon he walks in the nighttime. We came in here as a new house, and I've never heard so many strange things in my life." He found scuff marks on the floor of his home, as well as objects mysteriously shifted. Kerry said people had seen the doll move in front of them. He brought Letta with him to multiple television interviews and has started an Instagram page dedicated to the doll. According to psychics, Letta was made over 200 years ago by a Romanian father for his son who had drowned. He believed in spirit transference and that dolls act as a new home for the dead. The doll has real human hair, and underneath the scalp is a likeness of a human brain. Kerry recalls when a psychic was interviewing him, a clock fell off the wall and Letta moved in the psychic's lap when she talked about the son that had drowned. Kerry tried to sell Letta at one point after he found him, but when he went to the buyer's home to drop Letta off, he physically could not get Letta out of the car. Kerry saw this as a sign that Letta wanted to stay with him. After he canceled the sale and returned home, he was able to carry Letta around as normal. Other unusual occurrences that happen around Letta include dogs are aggressive around Letta and will bark or attack when they are near him. It will rain whenever Letta is taken outside. Hanging pictures may fall off the wall when he enters a room, and a pulse may be emitted when Letta is being held. Although there are strange occurrences surrounding Letta, Carrie is convinced his luck has changed for the better since Letta came into his life, and even attributed the success of his collectible business to Letta. Carrie and Letta live in Warwick and will make appearances upon request throughout Queensland. Daring visitors can see or hold Letta and take a picture with him. You can follow his Facebook and Instagram for updates and Letta Me Out merchandise. The most famous haunted doll in a few worldwide success movies is Annabelle. Unlike the large, creepy doll shown on screen, the real Annabelle is an old Raggedy Ann doll that a 28-year-old nurse named Donna received from her mother in 1970. Donna's mother purchased the doll from a secondhand store as a birthday present in Hartford, Connecticut. Shortly after Donna kept the doll in her apartment, strange occurrences started happening. Donna usually kept the doll on her bed, but noticed the doll would change positions. A leg would be crossed or the doll would be lying on its side. Then Donna and her roommate Angie began to find parchment paper on the floor with written messages, such as, "Help me, help us." The doll began appearing in different rooms and at one point appeared to be leaking blood. At first, the roommates thought there was an intruder in the home that was moving the doll and leaving notes. When they ruled that out, they contacted a medium and held a seance. The psychic told them a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins had resided on the property before the apartments were built and died there. Annabelle's spirit relayed to the medium that she felt comfort with the 2 roommates in the apartment and wanted to stay with them and be loved. Saddened by the story, Donna and Angie invited Annabelle's spirit to fully transfer herself into the doll, but things got worse. The words, "Save Lou," were scrawled in childish letters that appeared on a mysterious note that Donna found in her apartment. Donna's friend Lou, who doubted her stories about Annabelle, seemed to be in fine health. But soon after the mysterious note appeared, Lou woke up from a terrible nightmare, feeling like he was choking. To his horror, Lou looked down to find Annabelle crawling up his leg. The next day, Lou was attacked by an unseen force that left 7 distinct claw marks on his chest. After the attack on Lou, Donna asked her priest for help. Famous paranormal investigators and demonologists, Ed and Lorraine Warren, were notified and met Donna and Annabelle. The Warrens soon came to the disturbing conclusion that Annabelle was not possessed by the ghost of a young girl, but a cunning demon looking to possess a human host and did not want to stay attached to the doll. The Warrens called in a priest to perform an exorcism on Annabelle. Afterwards, Donna asked the Warrens to take Annabelle with them. The Warrens avoided the interstate and took the back roads home since they anticipated there would be disturbing activity. After repeated trouble with the engine, brakes, and steering, Ed stopped the car and opened the trunk. He doused Annabelle with holy water so she would behave herself for a while. When Ed Warren recounted Annabelle's story to a priest, the priest reportedly dismissed Annabelle with, "You're just a rag doll, Annabelle. You can't hurt anything." Lorraine sensed trouble for the priest and warned him to drive carefully. He later called to tell Lorraine he'd been in a near-fatal car wreck on his way home when his brakes failed. One visitor to the occult museum broke the rules by opening Annabelle's box and touching the doll, taunting her to do her worst. Shortly after he was escorted out of the museum, the man died in a motorcycle accident. His girlfriend survived, but had to spend nearly a year in the hospital recovering from her injuries. Despite achieving icon status, the original Annabelle still resides in the same humble, protective box in the Warrens Occult Museum in Moodus, Connecticut. But her sedentary lifestyle hasn't diminished her power. Before her death, Lorraine said Annabelle would sometimes move around and growl at unsuspecting visitors. To this day, Annabelle remains in the Warren Occult Museum in a locked case that is holy water encrusted. Although the Occult Museum is closed due to Annabelle's popularity after the movies and zoning issues that prevented the museum to be open to the public, Annabelle and some of the other most haunted items from the Warrens' collection will have travel appearances for supernatural conventions like Paracon for those brave enough to visit her in person. Unlike other haunted dolls, Pupa, which is Latin for doll, is said to have a good-natured spirit. Pupa is a 14-inch felt doll that was made in the image and had the human hair of the little girl who became her owner. She was given to the little girl when she was 5 or 6 years old in the 1920s, and she kept Pupa until her death in July 2005. The girl and Pupa lived in Trieste, Italy, and the little girl cherished Pupa throughout her life. Pupa survived World War II and many other close calls that almost led to her destruction. The original owner said that Pupa was alive and had a will of her own. She always considered Pupa to be a beloved friend and spoke of her fondly. They would talk often throughout the years, and Pupa knew all of her secrets. Pupa was a help during hard times and is even credited to saving her owner's life. Pupa and her owner traveled quite extensively throughout Europe and the United States. At the end of World War II, the girl's grandmother died. As a way to remember her, Pupa's owner took a button from her grandmother's clothes and had sewn it on Pupa's dress. When her owner died in 2005, the family decided to care for Pupa. Pupa became noticeably active after her owner's passing. The family put Pupa in a glass case to preserve her. The family said that Pupa made it known that she does not like to be confined in the display case. She will push things around in the case and move by herself. She can also be heard knocking on her display case when a family member walks by. When the family member looks at Pupa, she'll be seen with her hand pressed against the glass or her legs crossed when they weren't before. Her facial expressions are known to change when she shows emotions or reacts to things happening around her. Sometimes, the glass on the display case will fog up, revealing the words, "Pupa hate," on the steamy glass when looking from inside. One lucky family member managed to record Pupa rising to her feet and walking within the case on video. However, on the 3 occasions he tried to upload the video on YouTube, the video was obscured with a mysterious, thick, white film, and the words, "Pupa, no," appeared in the film in a childish handwriting. It is presumed Pupa is still with the family of her original owner in Italy, but there hasn't been any updates on her whereabouts since 2007. Hopefully, wherever Pupa is, she is loved and cared for as much as when she was with her original owner. In October 2004, a woman in Galveston, Texas, bought a haunted New Orleans zombie voodoo doll on eBay. The original eBay seller's advertisement stated that this haunted zombie doll was very active and almost alive. The new owner had to follow the rules of keeping it hidden away and never open the silver box it was locked in, even to view it. She didn't believe the warning that came with the doll and thought it'd be a great piece to investigate as a beginner ghost hunter. She planned on writing a book about her findings and about sending ghosts in the mail. It arrived as described, bound and tied in a metal box that she believed was a strange curio. She decided to take it out of the small coffin and display it. She later said that was a big mistake. One evening, the woman was in her bedroom reading a book when she heard tapping coming from downstairs. She decided to investigate the noise and found the voodoo doll on the floor. This continued for several weeks of her hearing tapping and finding the doll on the floor. One night, when the woman went into her sunroom, she felt a stinging on her ankle. She looked down and found 3 claw marks. Every night since then, she was scratched and bit. Her leg was gashed so deep one time that she had to go to the hospital. She decided that she had enough and put the doll back in its little coffin. She locked it in the basement and prayed it would stay away from her. For weeks, she heard evil laughs and giggles, but refused to open her basement door. When the doll couldn't physically attack her, it haunted her in her dreams. She tried to burn the doll, but it wouldn't burn. She tried to cut it up, but both the scissors and knife she tried using broke. She decided to bury it in a cemetery, but the grave was too shallow and the doll appeared dirty on her doorstep. She resold it on eBay, and the buyer said it disappeared from her home on 3 separate occasions. The woman found the doll on her doorstep each time and sent it back to the buyer. After the 3rd time of the doll disappearing and reappearing on the woman's doorstep, she canceled the sale and kept the doll. She tried contacting the original seller in New Orleans through email, but her emails went unanswered. She decided to ship the doll back, but the package came back to her as resident deceased. She tried reaching out to various paranormal groups and shows, but didn't have any luck until 2 years later. She told her story on a local radio station on October 31st, 2006, when several callers told her to seek out a priest. She met with a priest and begged him not to open the silver box, but to take her word that the voodoo doll is in there and to bless it. The priest blessed the box, and the woman asked the malevolent spirit to stay in there for her. Some people had offered to buy the voodoo doll from her, but no one called or showed up. As of 2008, she has kept the doll locked away, hidden deep in her attic. One day, she says she will sell her home and move elsewhere. If she's lucky, she'll leave the haunted voodoo doll tucked away in the attic and hidden where no one will ever find it or let it out. Thank you, friends, for joining me today. If you enjoyed the stories on this episode, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be alerted to all future content. If you have a story you would like me to read, feel free to email me your submission for a chance to hear your story on a future episode. Thank you again, friends, for your love and support. I'm Avarea, and until next time, take care.